it's that time of the week again. Start of another working week for me. I'm still full of snot, full of cold, but I feel better. You know when you sort of, your head's clearing a bit, you actually end up getting more symptoms. That's where I'm kind of back with it now. But anyway, enough moaning about it. There's a lovely moon today. It's almost like a full moon outside. But obviously being ill and stuff, and sometimes just being a little bit down, something I personally noticed myself is I get myself quite lazy, let's say. You don't worry about your hair so much. When you're at home and you feel ill or a little bit, as I said, down, you don't dress as well. You just, you know, you probably don't even do as much. You just kind of sit and eat rubbish, like I'm doing now with my buttermint in my mouth. And yeah, you lose a bit of that self-care. And something I've always found for myself is when you actually do put a little bit more effort in again, and you look after yourself, you feel a million times better. I remember last year when I was doing a lot of my ultramarathon training, I found that I was really just not looking after myself, not eating properly, and because I was doing so much exercise, it was purely just wearing like joggers and whatever, and I just felt tired a lot of the time. Just again, didn't really feel myself. I was almost like a robot, and I really sort of thought, what kind of broke me out of that habit a little bit. Sometimes it might be a nice, putting even like some hair gel in. I remember putting some hair gel in, having a haircut, having a shower, you know, a nice hot shower, hot bath, something just to make you feel better. And I thought, well, actually also, sometimes just wearing a nice fragrance can really lift your mood. So that's what we're going to talk about on our drive along today, is what can essentially improve your mood, what can make you feel better in terms of fragrances if you do feel a little bit down in the dumps for whatever reason. And I kind of thought I wanted to go for some different sort of brands today, so maybe ones like I haven't really mentioned, because I mentioned Lush a lot, and Lush are brilliant for like uplifting type scents, you know, and I think Tom Ford and Axopar, they're brilliant brands, and of course they have that element of class and quality. But if you're a little bit low on mood, you're probably not going to have this big expensive fragrance in your collection that you're necessarily going to want to spend on yourself. So I think genre matters here as well. So something I'm looking at here for me, I don't think I want anything too gourmand. I think when we look at it, we want something that's a little bit more fresh, you know, clean, fresh, spicy, aromatic, but it just makes you feel like you've come out of the shower, and yeah, you just feel a bit more invigorated. Something that's going to almost uplift you and make you feel a little bit more awake, a little bit more alert, and ultimately a little bit more approachable for people around you. So I've kind of got 5 brands today, you know, and fragrances within those brands as well in particular, where I think some of you may have heard of them, some of you may have, you know, considered this before, had them a long time ago and thought, do you know what, I want to get them again, or you may not have heard them at all, and that's why I wanted to do some different ones today. Rather than my usual brands, we'll do some different ones. Some I have experiences of, some I've seen online in videos, and people have said good things about them. Some I've just never had before, but they've been certainly on my to purchase list over the years. And I'm sure, I say this with a lot of brands or a lot of fragrances, I'm sure I'll get round to them at some point. So I've waffled on for a little bit now. Let's go into the first one. The first one we're going to go on to is Jaguar. So Jaguar, obviously a car brand. Thought that was quite fitting as it's a fragrance drive along. And it's Jaguar Pace. Now, Jaguar does some interesting fragrances. I've had some Jaguar ones before. They do a classic line where there's one called Classic Blue, which I think could have worked for this as well. Again, more of that sort of fresh, spicy line. But Jaguar Pace, it feels a little bit more like a younger, synthetic gym type scent. Now, people online said the performance on this is really poor, but I get the impression it is that sort of clean shower gel type vibe. So I think this is one where, again, say you think, right, I need to sort myself out today, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go run a few errands, get myself out of this slump. I think this is a really good one because it's not too powerful, not too heavy. It's just clean, youthful, fresh, and it makes you want to do a workout. It's that sort of workout type scent. but maybe again will definitely make you feel better if you're a little bit down in the dumps. So it's a really nice one. I believe there's a bit of ambroxan in it, and again, that's something that's in a lot of modern blue fragrances, so it's nothing too different, nothing too daring. And I think again, no thrills, no complications with this. That works really well. So that's the first one. Jaguar, again, on the whole, not a massive fan of the brand, but there are some nice fragrances in there for good prices. The next one we're going to go on to is Lacoste. Now Lacoste, again, a bit of a clothing brand. I'll be honest with you, I have smelt a few of this one, but it's the L1212 line. Now, you've got L1212 white, there's a green one, I believe there's a red bottle. They've done a lot of these ones, and to be honest with you, I know some have got some good compliments or good comments from them online. I've always found them a little bit boring, a bit underwhelming. Personally, I've always preferred the David Beckham line, which maybe is a little bit more, depends if you like David Beckham, I guess. But for me, I just feel like the L1212 line is a bit underwhelming. But what I do like about them, there are slight differences. Some of them, I believe, have some melon in them. You've got citruses, pepper, and again, they're very much, to me, a little bit like the first one. You could just throw them in your gym bag, throw them in your work bag. And if someone said, what are you wearing? It's Lacoste. It's quite a nice brand to talk about as well. It is a classy brand, nice clothing, lovely shoes. And again, decent fragrances without ever being a wow fragrance. They don't really break the bank. Again, I think they'll tick the boxes for those days when you just want something to get out of the shower, get you out of the house, and make you feel like, yeah, I'm looking after myself a little bit more now. So that's the next one. Third one, this is more for a gentleman, because first two rounds have been a little bit juvenile, let's say. I think we need something a little bit more grown up, but again, still very much in that sort of clean vibe, white floral vibe in this one. And the one that I like with this is because of the bottle as much as anything. I've never had this fragrance, but it's one that I think I would really like and appreciate. It's Nikos Sculpture. Yes, this got a bit of hype online probably about 6-7 years ago. I don't know if it still does now particularly, but it's just an old school kind of, makes you think like you're a Greek god essentially, I think. And I think for an older gentleman, this one's got a little bit more seriousness about it, less playful. And sometimes people do want to just feel a little bit more, sophisticated when they feel better. They don't want to feel like they're just, again, wearing casual clothes, going to the gym. They might rather just put on a suit and tie and really look up, really make themselves feel better. And again, I think something that's got that little bit more grown up vibe to it is great. I think Aramis definitely gives you that, but for me, Aramis is too smoky, too heavy, and I wouldn't want to wear it for an occasion where I just want to be a bit more uplifting. Again, I go back to, I think it's more the vibe of, green fragrances, spicy fragrances, citrus fragrances definitely work better in that occasion. This one is I believe it came out in the 1990s. It's a little bit more of a throwback, more serious sense. So if you thought, I don't want to just dress up to, go to the gym, I want to put on a nice shirt, I think this is a good one to go for. And it'll give you that feeling of, feeling a bit more expensive and important again. So that's the next one. Oh, there is a lot of traffic. There's been so much traffic lately because of the flooding, but actually it's finally clearing. But it's just gone 6 o'clock and there's people already going to work. Look at us all. Honestly, I don't work too hard, do I really? But anyway, next one we're going to go on to is Lalique, actually. So again, a little bit more in the vibe of a bit more grown up, a bit more sophisticated Lalique. So Lalique is they kind of make a lot of fragrances. I kind of just want to go into a bit of detail about Lalique because they do like Bentley fragrances as well. So they've got quite a important role within the fragrance industry. No, stuck behind a bus and every car's overtaking. Hurry up, cars, I want to overtake myself. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, they are quite prominent in the fragrance industry. But Lalique do one called Lalique White, and I believe this is a bit floral again. They've done one called White and Black. They've also done other sort of fresh fragrances. They're a little bit more dated, called Lalique Lion. wanted to do Lalique White because it's a bit more of a modern scent. It came out a number of, well, not that long ago, you know, certainly in the last decade. And people do say some good things about it. It is a men's fragrance, but I do think it's got some feminine nuances about it. I think there might be some floral components to this one. But again, citrus, fresh, spicy. That's what this one is. It's very much that type of scent again, but with that more grown-up vibe. Where again, I don't think you'd want to wear this one to the gym, but for those more sort of occasions where you feel like you want to be a bit more fancy, I think Lalique's a really good brand for that. I used to have one called Homage Alon. Now I'll be honest with you, I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. It was like this watery rose, but it did have this feeling again of being a bit more grown up, gentlemanly, timeless, and I think Lalique is very good for that. If you're someone certainly 40s and up, I think they're really good. They tick that box. And then the last brand I'm going to go for, and this is a brand that I've not owned one of these. I believe my brother did, and I think they are very much on that generic side. Karl Lagerfeld, and they did a line. I remember this getting a little bit of hype online, but they were a bit hit and miss. I believe they released 3 of these ranges, but they did a Bois de Vetiver and a Bois de Yuzu. And again, I don't think they're anything too groundbreaking. I think it's a nice clean vetiver in that one. And Yuzu's a note that's really grown up recently. It's almost like I always get this sort of soury citrus from Yuzu. But what they are is they're kind of in that middle range, so not too juvenile. You know, not too grown up, too old smelling. I think these Lagerfeld ones. I think they're going to be for a little bit like Zara, someone in there saying mid-20s up to 40s, 50s. I think this is where these are going to work really well. Everyday type scents that smell clean, a bit spicy. You know, Yuzu again, so a little bit of fruity citrus, and that can just be quite invigorating again. Just that feeling of something you can wear for every occasion. Because I think sometimes as well, a Dumb Reach scent could probably work well in this category as well, you know, like a Davidoff Cool Water, but these ones have a little bit more depth about them, I believe, the Lagerfeld one, and again, some interesting notes in them, and I think vetiver's a great note. If you can find that nice clean vetiver, for a gentleman here, it gives a bit more of a masculine edge, so yeah, I really like the thought of that one. There's 2 bikes in front of me that have decided to take up the whole road, not just stay on the inside lane, take up the whole road. I have to go by them. So yeah, they are my 5. So we've got Karl Lagerfeld, Lacoste, we've got Lalique, I'm trying to think what else I said now. We've got Nikos Sculpture, and there was one more. See, this is why it's too early. I'm not looking after myself enough here, am I? I'm only joking. Jaguar was the other one, wasn't it? So if I had to recommend any more that I currently have in my collection, some of these might be a bit more expensive, but Rhubarbe Eclat by Hermes. I think Hermes as a brand is really good for that because they do smell like nature. They've got very naturalistic type fragrances. So if you're someone who likes that feeling of being outdoors, Hermes is brilliant. It makes you feel like you're walking through a spring garden, and I think that can put you in a good mood. I think you could also look at the Calvin Klein line. There's a Calvin Klein summer line. I didn't include that today for one main reason. They just come out every year, and I think they've lost a bit of... Look, there's the odd one that comes out in that line and you go, wow, that was actually really nice. But on the whole, they're really dull, really boring. And I found they've had almost a bit of an alcoholic hand wash type smell to them. Hence why I don't go for them. But again, there's nothing wrong with them. CK1 obviously you could go for, because again, it's just that nice clean washing type smell. Again, if you wanted something a little bit more grown up, a bit more sophisticated, Prada, they always do those nice soapy clean type smells, like luxury soap smells. And again, I would have to just say Lush. Lush do tend to do more gourmands, which I don't think are, you know, quite as right for this, but they are uplifting. They're very positive, happy type scents, and I think they'll put a smile on your face anyway, because they're simplistic, done right. And yeah, I think, to be honest with you, Milton Lloyd is probably the one I would have picked today. I just didn't want to mention it again, but Milton Lloyd's Success is a brilliant little fragrance. You know, you can get like a 50 bottle is it's like a room mist, like a spray mist, but it is amazing. It's gorgeous, and it just smells like lemonade. That nice lemonade type smell works really well. But I am at work now, so I'm going to get myself all out the car. But let me know some of your fragrances that you like when you're in a bit of a downer and you want something just to give you or even if you're not in a downer, you just want something to make you feel fresh, clean, uplifted, positive, happy. Tell me a happy scent, because I think we all can use fragrances to improve our mood, because that's what they're very good for. Anyway, I need to get rid of this cold. I can't wait. But thank you very much for watching today. I'll catch you later.